Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another pre-market stream. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. I normally don't wear my glasses because you can see the glare from the lighting I have in here. So I usually don't like that, and it's like the lighting glare from the camera screen. So normally I don't like to wear glasses on stream because of the glare on my glasses. But lately my vision's been seeming to get, I don't want to say worse, but I can feel myself going a little more cross-eyed these days. And I just think it's from actually I think it's from staring at these computers for the last, lot of years at such fine detail. I'm actually starting to go cross-eyed. I used to go cross-eyed as a kid, and I'm legally blind in my right eye, so I've had eye issues before, but they're actually just, apparently I'm just getting old. Just getting older, I guess. So we're going to be rocking glasses more frequently. So if you don't like the glare, there's really not much I can do. Okay. So today I wanted to, we'll touch on some stocks, but I did want to say happy Easter to everybody. Late, but, better late than never, I guess. Still improving as a nice human. But happy Easter to everybody. I know you probably couldn't spend it with your families. I couldn't. My mom made my favorite cake, and I couldn't eat it, so that's cool. Now I want to talk about the market. We've bounced. We've had a successful bounce. We're bounced like 30% or something. I would say, believe it or not, it's probably time to start getting back into the bearish sentiment. Unless you think we're just going for a V-shaped recovery, okay? So I'm going to start sharing my screen. We'll take a look at a couple things, okay? Nick, yeah, Brandon should have the power to screen share right now. I mean, we're not sharing. I'm not sharing right now. So, 1 second, maybe. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, we're good. We're good. I was still not doing my job correct this morning. All right. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, sodium chloride. Yeah, we did. I didn't promote Brennan as a panelist yet, so he's good. So anyways, I think ideally you're probably going to want to shift back to a little bit of a bearish sentiment here pretty soon, given how the markets have bounced, okay? And there's a couple of reasons for that. We can go into greater detail, less detail, but there's a couple of reasons for it that you might want to have more of a bearish sentiment going into the next couple weeks, okay? ICD, we can take a look at ICD. So really just to go over this quickly so that it's no longer on my mind. I think you guys will be up to speed. S&P 500. We'll run through the SPY. We'll run through the Dow Jones. But anyways, so you have, and we're gonna look at maybe a weekly. We'll do like a weekly chart here. Maybe we'll go back to the daily, whatever. So anyways, you have the markets bouncing. I think the markets do have a little bit more to bounce to the upside. I think we'll still have the potential to move higher, but ultimately within the next couple weeks, we're gonna start seeing some selling coming into the S&P 500 really within this zone, okay? So I think we have the potential to get as high as about 307, 306, 304. But that's where we're going to start to see some selling pressure coming into the market. And I think the longs are going to get trapped there, and we're going to start kind of rolling back down on the market, all right? Now, if you look at, let's just look at the Dow Jones for fun. Dow Jones is very similar, and you can see now that the daily chart, I'm gonna highlight, I'm just gonna draw a box around it, but you can see, look at this box I draw, right? That's encapsulating all of these lines, and you can see the lines are red because we're downtrending. So the Dow Jones on the daily chart time frame, 1 year, 1 day, has started downtrending. Okay, so the Dow Jones for you guys is in a downtrend now. Okay, just so you know. So when people are speaking of the markets bullishly, also let them know that currently their Dow Jones Industrial Average is downtrending on its yearly time frame. Okay, that might help put things into perspective. We'll take a look at the Nasdaq here. Nasdaq still really in an uptrend. Nasdaq is actually one of the indexes, or you can call it, that didn't get hit as hard as the SPY, S&P, or the Dow Jones. Now the Nasdaq has, maybe a little bit more room that it's going to bounce up in its move here. But all the indexes from Nasdaq, SPY to Dow Jones, they're bouncing, and they're all bouncing right back up into resistance levels where people are going to try to sell them again. And then secondly, the last thing I'll mention is alongside of that, if you just look at most of your stocks, like McDonald's daily chart is downtrending now, right? If you just look at most of your big name company stocks, they all went oversold, and they've all bounced right back to resistance. A lot of stocks are getting to resistance right now. So as those stocks get to resistance and start to sell, the S&P 500 will start to do the same. So anyways, I think stocks have bounced enough. They're at resistance. They're going to start selling, and we're getting close to another bearish move in the market, or an attempt at a bearish move in the market. Okay? And that's pretty much all I need to spiel on that topic. Now you guys are caught up on the S&P 500 and all the indexes, and pretty much my thoughts. Kevin, yeah, honestly, you know what? That'll be my goal this weekend, to edit the Nightbot so it's less crazy. Okay. All right. Never Satisfied Brandon is our team large cap trader, and he works with me, and he runs our trading room if I'm not there or I'm doing this. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to look at stock MFA. MFA was a popular stock last 2 weeks. We can touch on that. Let's touch on ICD. That's a good talking point. That was a popular stock last week. It's the 5G. BIOC, we probably won't, not to be a jerk, I don't think we'll touch on that one. Maybe I will. I'll scan through it real fast. TBL Tea, we could take a look at. All right, and then we'll take a look at TBLT. So let's run through some of those. MFA, sure, why not? All right. So MFA had a good bounce. This is actually still trading pretty bullish. You probably want to be more long bias on MFA than you want to be short bias, or just a seller. I don't think, unless this is meant to break up right now, you probably won't get a monster move. But that's really it. If you're watching MFA right now, we squeeze up to there. We're still, you have up to about 474 on the daily chart. I would say ultimately you have up to about $4.74 on the stock MFA for a very easy projectable price target, but your 4-hour chart, really what you're looking for here, maybe even today on MFA, you're going to look for a move. If you're looking for a breaking out move, which probably won't happen, actually, it's probably going to sell down in the morning today. As market opens, it'll probably sell off a bit. You could only really look for a long move, a big move, if it's breaking over 225. So that's probably not going to happen. I'm going to say it. So watch it, though. If it gets over 225, 226, you might be onto a breaking out day on MFA. But until it does that, it'll probably just trade back down into range. All right, let's take a look at ICD. Again, this is a popular one last week. So the thing squeezed up, then it sold down, and then we bounced. Really, this is kind of lost the momentum. If we look at the daily chart, maybe it's the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart perfectly hit resistance. So we already got crushed off resistance. We don't really have much on the daily chart to go off of. It's really just on trend. If you look at it, it's really just right trading on trend. We're a little bit below trend. you don't have a low risk long entry on ICD until 6:45. So for right now, for me, I would probably just be neutral on ICD. Never satisfied. Yeah, this is a custom standard deviation setup that's on my chart right now. Okay. I'll take a look at. Yeah. Actually, I'm glad you said BCRX. That's one that I wanted to look at. I looked at it this morning, forgot that it even was a stock. But this is a good one, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. It looked a little better earlier. So BCRX spiked Friday. Excuse me. Spikes Friday. And it's something people are watching for sure. I mean, there's people watching it. Arguably, it's a little awkward, kind of funky looking. But I will say this. Based on where BCRX is trading right now, it is relatively a low-risk buy right now. So if you're to buy or look at owning the stock, it's really at a fair price this morning, arguably. Okay? By market open, things will change. They're going to change, absolutely, by market open. But by market open, if the price stays down at about 263, 260, it's actually a good buy to look for a squeeze move back up to maybe $3. Arguably up to 344 if you're lucky. All right. So, yeah, BCRX is probably one worth watching long bias more out of the gates than I don't know, anything else we've even looked at so far today. So we'll watch BCRX. This sort of reminds me of DPW. I'll show you DPW from last week. It'll help you kind of just wrap your head around the move maybe. Not saying, what was it, pre-market? Okay, here we go. Let me put it on a 1 minute chart. So this is DPW from last week. It looks a little kind of awkward, but it doesn't look exactly the same. Let me try to explain it. This was pre-market. So this was pre-market, right? And we kind of come back down and we push back up and then we just kind of faded down. So by the time market opened, we kind of already faded off and we're just really on support once market opened. And then we kind of had this bounce up like that, right? Not saying that BCRX is going to make such a big move that DPW did, but it's a very similar setup in the sense that it kind of, I'm on a wrong time frame here, but we kind of pushed up and we just kind of like just faded down all the way back to support. So by the time market opens, we should be looking at more of a bounce move, I'd say. It wouldn't make sense for anybody to sell this down. It wouldn't make sense for, not necessarily sell it, but it wouldn't make sense for people to short sell this morning, at least yet, because there's just, the profit potential is so low and the risk is so high to the upside. So I don't think we're going to get anybody selling this short come market open. Doesn't really make sense. The risk to reward is not favorable to be shorting at this level. So you shouldn't get too much participation from shorts. So I would be more long buys BCRX going to the open with all that said. Okay. Now let me sip my coffee. I never, I get coffee in the morning and then we hop on our private group and we'll talk there for, like an hour or so or whatever. And then my coffee gets cold. And then I come on here and I talk for like another 30 minutes and then my coffee gets. So it's like literally I'm just warming coffee up all day long because I never really get the chance to drink it because I'm just talking all day. Okay, so I think everybody should be pretty clear on BCRX. AJB Soccer, yeah, it's a 10%. 10%. So yeah. So here's another thing. Actually, I want to touch on this, guys. I don't know how many of you know this, but this is something really good that I thought of to just talk about right now, and that is AJB Soccer says here in the chat, BCRX has a 10% short float. A 20% short float, 25%, 30%, 40%, anything pretty much 20 and above is recognized as a pretty high short float. And that pretty much just tells us that there are X amount of people or, gives us a ballpark figure to go off of how many people are bearish the stock, betting against it to the downside. But that number, that 10%, cannot update quickly enough to tell us how many people are short biased the stock on like a 1 minute or a 5 minute time frame. So that's a good way to know, like from a broad view, how many people are just overall bearish the stock. But from like an intraday perspective, it doesn't really help us understand who is shorting the stock at this given second, because you can also have that. You can have a lot of short selling participation on like 1 or 2 minute time frames where that 10% wouldn't really reflect that. So I've never explained that way, and I hope that clears some of that up for maybe some of you guys. How do you tell what exchange you can literally look that up. You can look and see which stocks trade off of which exchanges. That's just something you just Google, honestly. So we'll look at TBL Tea. That was something I was going to look at a little bit ago. Didn't really get too much time. No, just didn't do it. TBL Tea. All right, so 24 cents. So this is already a stock that I would normally not trade, just because of the price point, okay? So this is normally something I myself would not trade. Not that you can't make money, or not that there isn't good plays. I just don't normally participate in this sort of market. So from the intraday perspective, TBL Tea is really just on trend, so it's not on sale, it's not overbought, it's not oversold, it's just fair value right now. It's just neutral on the day, really, is all that's there. Okay. From the daily chart, so there's really a couple things there's really 1 or 2 things that I could see happening. Well, actually, really, there's probably 1 or 2 things that are going to happen here, is a better way of saying that. So you have one possibility of it breaking out. You can kind of see we're doing like a little flag pattern here, kind of. All right, it's trying to do like a flag wedge. So that has the potential to break up. Yet, if you look at the stock, it doesn't appear like there's really a lot of buying volume. It kind of just all looks like selling volume so far. So you don't have a lot of people buying into that, it looks like. Come on. Hold on. Give me a second. Oh, that's because of that. Yeah, so you don't really have, if you look at our volume system here, this is a custom coded volume system we have. It's, again, just going to put that out there right now. It's not available. It's not available right now, so just don't even ask the question. We can't get it to you yet. So if you look at this volume system, there's really no one buying this in actuality. It might appear that way, right? If you look at the chart, it might look as if people are actually buying into TBLT, but really they're not, because majority of all those days are actually selling volume. Even on like the spike days, you can see 90-80% of the volume is actually selling volume, okay? So what it looks like is a flag that wants to break up. What it probably is going to end up rolling over and coming back down towards this trend, right? Because look at, this is trend in the middle, okay? As you break away from trend, you'll try to return to it. So we've tried to break away from that trend a couple times. So that's really the move. Either we break down and go back to trend, or by some means, the bulls get enough strength here and they kind of break this flag over this deviation, and then you get a breakout, maybe to here. So with all that hibbity hoo-ha that I basically said, I wouldn't really be long TBLT. It's maybe worth watching, but I wouldn't have money on it right now myself. Whew. Okay. Yeah. So short, yes. Mike, to answer your question simply, yes. To your question about the short float in position. Musical staff. Yeah, pretty much all the indicators I have right now, guys, are just not yet available. They will be, but they're not right now. Actually, I saw Works. I saw Works was up today. Let's take a look at that. I remember seeing that hit my scanner earlier this morning at some point. I didn't look at it though. Was it Works or was it this? It was definitely this. Holy shit. What happened here, boys? What is going on? Hey, what's going on, eh? Yeah, honestly, this is a good low-risk buy point. Honestly. It's not bad. Do we really think that's going to push, though? That's a good question. I kind of want to try it. We got some... the buying volume is decent. Could probably get a quick pop on it, eh? Yeah, it's usually not healthy to see how quickly this deteriorated down, but there might be a little bounce you can trade here on Works, and if you're going to trade it, I mean, this is pretty much where you'd start buying for a bounce, right around this zone on Works. Let me double check a couple things. I mean, yeah, this thing squeezed out all the way to 9 this morning. Oh, here we go. Well, it's squeezed all the way out to 9. What are we going to look at is a question. We're trading in the 5s. So we won't even, this is 2 standard deviations. That shouldn't even come close. It's kind of there. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to take, so I took 100 shares just because, why not? So there's really one of two things that are either going to happen. Either we start to bounce here, or this thing really is just an absolute dud on the day and it just drops out. But I think we're gonna try and bounce at least once. If we're really, really lucky, we could maybe press it all the way up to about 755 if we're lucky, but that probably won't happen. I don't know. If it does, cool. If it doesn't, whatever. So anyways, yeah, Works. I think it's worth keeping on watch all day long. I know that it's at a low risk long level here. That's why I took 100 shares. But ultimately, I mean, whenever they kind of spike this big and then they fade out that hard, they're usually not the greatest contestant for the day. So I kind of think what's going to happen is maybe this bounce goes up a little bit, but I think it's just going to sluggishly kind of roll right back over. But the level I was taking the long at was low risk enough to even attempt it. So we'll see. You know, that's pretty much it. This yellow line here is support. So if that breaks and starts to give way, I would probably take the trade off. So anyways, you get the point. So yeah, TBL Tea. Works. I think it's worth watching. You can clearly see it has volatility from 2 to 9, then 9 all the way down to 5. So it's got the volatility. We'll watch it. You know, we'll see if it turns into anything crazy on the day. Okay. No, Android, I still trade on TOS. I did make that video. I was going to maybe stop trading on them, but ultimately most of the problems that we were experiencing, they still happen sometimes, but they're pretty much not there. They're not as bad as they were. At some point, you know, I'm sure at some point in my life I'll trade on another broker, but just really not hard pressed to. Don't really need to. But anyways, yeah. AMC big bounce from sell off. APTO to 9. First day trading on like a simulator. Mr. McKinney declined. Anyways, yeah. About your question. Yeah, I mean, for your first day, I mean, take it. I mean, you're on a simulator. Trade as if it was going to be a real account. Just know that it will be easier to make money on the simulator account than it will be the real account, because it's not real. So you're not dealing with real market makers. You're not dealing with real fills, real order execution speed. It's all a little bit different because it's not real. So don't become overconfident in yourself because maybe you end up trading so well in the simulated account. But that would be like kind of like one of my best advice going into it. Yeah, some of it at least. Okay. So now I'm just gonna, what time is it? 9 o'clock. Yeah, I gotta run. I'm pretty much done here in terms of time. I gotta run. So we're still riding this this works trade. This is 100 shares, which is completely fine. It's already $44 that I've made today. So like that in itself, that's great. You know, I can basically get me a bottle of Crown Royal. I can get me into a bad trouble down at the strip club for one night, you know. So I'm happy. That's good, you know. So anyways, yeah, we'll keep it there. Watch works. It's got high volatility. We'll see if it turns into something awesome. You know what? There's one more thing I should touch on before I go. Let me just take one more look at the SPY. Like I said, I'm starting to grow more of a bearish outlook on the market for now going into the next couple weeks. It doesn't mean that I won't trade the market's long bias on the day, or it doesn't mean they can't go long bias on the day. Right now, the market's on trend. So I would say this is kind of what we're looking at today. Based on the way we've held here, middle of the road, we do have the potential to spike up, right? So this is the way I look at it. Either we're going to break up and we're going to head towards 279, right, on the day, or we're going to break down and we're going to head towards maybe 274. If we break up this way, stocks are going to start on a long day. They're going to start with a nice long move, and then they'll get faded into maybe midday, late day as the markets get up to 279. If we go the opposite way, we go down first, and we take out the open and we go into kind of the pre-market low scenario, then stocks will probably start with a shake down, and then we'll have a midday bounce. All right. So really, depending on which way our markets pick here today, you know, we're going to have to trade the markets that way. So essentially, if we start off long going up towards 279, you're going to want to watch stocks long early morning, probably short midday, and then vice versa. If we open and we take out, we're going to want to watch short and then midday bounce. Okay. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, everybody have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for another stream. All right, guys, everybody take care. Have a great rest of your day.